Hello! Welcome back to a Tech Ambrosia stream. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope your weekend is going well. Mine's doing fine. You didn't see the state of this workbench for the last 2 days as I was trying to put my Power Mac 8500 back together. Just spindler plastic everywhere. Just little broken bits of horrible yellowed fire-resistant plastic. It's really bad. But it's back up and running, working great. We looked at it last stream, I think? Or was it the stream before? I don't remember. Got the G3 card working in it, right? Yeah, it was last stream. On that stream, I think I got it up to 364 megahertz. So I found out that the most reliable bus speed for that thing was about 50 megahertz. Straight 50 megahertz. Not 52, not 54. No reason to pull it back to 48 or 46. But the CPU card is quite happy to go beyond its rated 333 megahertz, and in fact it's running quite happily now at 400 megahertz. So I have a 400 megahertz G3 on my desk, which is kind of awesome. It flies. I also picked up, I think I talked about this on stream, some of these. I think Joe's Computer Museum might be doing these. Somebody in the Retro Mac community is making these, and I forget who is. I'm so sorry that I forgot who's doing this. But you can pick up basically flashed PCI SATA controllers. These are just desoldered and reflashed with Mac firmware, and they work like a normal Mac IDE controller, including booting off of them. If you want to use them with SSDs, macOS is a little particular about what'll work. Weirdly, like I tried several SSDs in this Power Mac, and the one that worked was one of my ADATA SSDs, like I think 128 gig SSD, something like that. No, a 250 gig SSD. 240. I didn't partition it out all the way. I gave it a 2 gig partition on the front with like classic, macOS format or whatever. And then I did macOS extended for like 140 gigs for the rest of it. Works like a charm. Boots right up. It's kind of amazing. It's quite fast too. With that PCI card and the SATA SSD, it's now fast enough that I'm just booting it on OS 9.04, and it's quite pleasant. It boots up very quickly. It boots off of that SSD. Boots 9.04 off that SSD as fast as it booted macOS 8.1 off of the Blue SCSI. So that's pretty impressive. A pretty impressive speed up. Anyway, we're not talking about the Power Mac this time. We are looking at running Haiku on some Socket FM2 processors. And first thing I want to do is I want to apologize. The title and thumbnail are very clickbaity. I said we're going to run it on Carrizo. This is my Carrizo APU right here. It is. If it'll focus on it, it's not going to focus on it, is it? No, it's not. Of course it's not. Come on. You can do it. Anyway, it's an AMD A8 7680. This was one of the last CPUs, one of the last APUs released for FM2. The cool part about these is that they use the excavator cores, which is the last revision of the bulldozer cores. Not really notable for anything else. Bulldozer still sucks. Even with the last revision, it's still bad. But what I found out, let me switch you over to the desk cam so y'all can see. There we go. Working on these two boards this morning, getting ready for stream, and I'm like, oh, I should probably go grab the BIOS updates for these. That'll let me run Carrizo. And it turns out neither of these will run Carrizo. There's a revision for this board here. This is the Gigabyte A88X whatever. This will run Carrizo, but only the Athlon versions. The ones without the built-in graphics, which is the whole reason you get an APU in the first place. I but like, this board is my A78 and an ASUS A78M. which actually I bought new back in 2013, I think, something like that. And I bought it with an Athlon. This is an Athlon X4 860K. And I bought the overclockable Athlon, and I neglected to get the overclocking enabled motherboard. So at the very least, I've got a Trinity APU, and this one it's an A10 5700. It's fine. Four cores. It's got the full complement of graphics on it, but it's terascale, so Anyway, unfortunately, neither of these boards will run Carrizo, and that's my mistake. I thought at least the A88 would run Carrizo. Both of these chipsets are the last revision of chipsets for the FM2 platform. There was one other revision, I think it was only for OEMs, but that might be the one that actually runs Carrizo. But there was like an initial release of FM2, and then there was the A88, A78, there was like an A58, I think? Something like that. The A68 is actually for the first revision of the boards. These boards are super cheap to get if you're interested in looking at old AMD APUs, but the whole platform's super confusing. You have to use a Wikipedia page to figure out what goes with what motherboard, because none of it makes any sense whatsoever. Anyway, we are still going to do Haiku. I've got the latest nightly on this flash drive. We're going to try and put it on either of these. So as I was mentioning, this board is an A88X, so it enables overclocking on K SKU processors and APUs. Unfortunately, the APU I have in here is not a K SKU. However, the APU I have in here is a K SKU. Well, it's not an APU, it's just the Athlon, but it is the K SKU, so we could overclock it. Let's see what we can get out of it. But most importantly, I want to see if this thing will actually boot and run. I don't think I've actually run this thing yet. I think I tried putting this Athlon in it, actually, the 860K on it, and it didn't boot. So I picked up this the whole reason I have the A10 5700 is it's one of the first FM2 APUs to come out, and it's supported on this board with the very first BIOS revision, so it should work. But if we want to do anything else on it, we're going to have to update that BIOS, so pain in the butt. Like I said, these are super cheap. I think you can pick these motherboards up for like 20 bucks, like new in box these days, so might be worth screwing around with if you're interested. But like I said, it's a very confusing platform. If this was Melee's era AMD, these are all terrible as far as performance. They're maximum of 4 cores, and all of them have no level 3 cache because of, putting a graphics card on it. Basically, sticking a graphics card on your CPU die while being limited to 28 nanometer process node. So, well, why don't we dive in? Let's say hi to chat. We've got a few folks here. I said hi before we started the stream a bit. Francois is here. Francois says it reminds me that the hashtag is Haiku OS, but the name is Haiku, and that's okay. I just wanted to put Haiku OS in the title so people were sure what it was. You don't understand that we're talking about YouTube, right? Like, there's a niche community for everyone. There's a niche community for Haiku OS. Absolutely. We know about it. We're part of it. Us weird retro computer enthusiasts. But there's also a niche community for haiku writing, like actual haikus. So I'll be verbose when I make my titles and stuff, so people know it's Haiku OS, and we're not doing Japanese poetry today. Anyway, Francois says, I said the name of it is Haiku OS in my heart. Francois says BOS in mine. Well, Francois, it's BOS on my Power Mac, so there you go. Philippe Ferracci says, I still remember when I went to Paris to see the B-Box back in the Jean-Louis Gasset period. Nice piece of hardware, multi-CPU before the PC. Yeah, those B-Boxes, man, those were so sexy. Those were great little machines. I think they made them in up to quad 603Es. Imagine how fast that thing would have been back then. Whew, dang. So who else have we got here? We've got Dave. Dave's Vintage Apple Tech is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Raptor 3 replied at the very start of the stream saying, AMD A8, this is going to be cursed, isn't it? You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Nvidium is here. It says AMD related stuff. That's right. Hello, welcome to the stream. We are doing AMD stuff. Jack68K is here. Hello. Jack68K is just saying hi to people. Raptor3 says, please don't clickbait. I didn't try to. Like I said, I made the thumbnail for this thing like 2 hours ago, and a half hour before stream I realized that neither of these boards will run Carrizo, which is really annoying because I have a Carrizo APU and now I don't have a board that runs it. I'm kind of annoyed. Derek Wright is here. Says, I know what Haiku OS is, but not Carrizo. So Carrizo is one of the last revisions of these AMD APUs on socket FM2 before AMD launched AM4, basically. So FM1 and FM2 were consumer APU platforms from AMD. Actually, FM1 was the first APU platform, FM2 is the revision, the follow-up. They existed simultaneously to AM3. So you had AM3 with, like, you know, the 4, 6, and 8 core processors with the AMD FX series. And then AMD basically lopped off half of the 8-core processor and put a GPU in the other half of the CPU, you know, on the other half of the die, and turned it into an APU, or an accelerated processing unit, also known as integrated graphics. But since basically their inception, they've been pretty okay with, like, basic 3D graphics needs. They haven't really ever been super impressive. The latest generations are getting there, right? Like the 780M with the Ryzen, with the Zen 4 cores and the RDNA 3 graphics. You're starting to see them get powerful enough that you could conceivably replace your whole PC with an APU. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. These early ones weren't. They were not very good. The very first ones on socket FM1 weren't even the current core. So they launched at the same time as AMD FX, right? So you had the Bulldozer cores on AM3, and then you had FM1 that launched with Stars cores, so K10, if you remember the K10 architecture, with Terascale graphics, with like Terascale 2, so DirectX 10 Terascale graphics. Not great. Not great. They did eventually, like this one that we have here in the Gigabyte board. This one is Pile Driver, so it's the second revision of Bulldozer. Doesn't matter, they're all terrible. But it still has Terascale graphics in it. At least it's Terascale 3, so we've got DirectX 11 support on this. But, you know, it's not amazing. There were several revisions after this that finally gave us GCN. And then Carrizo is the last version, basically the last version. There's one other, there's like Bristol Ridge, but that's AM4 only. Carrizo gave us like GCN 3, not quite Polaris, unfortunately, but GCN 3 at least. And then Excavator and Excavator Plus cores. So you got the last revision of cores, like the 4th revision of the Bulldozer core. So interesting. There's a little bit of instruction set support in Excavator that's not in the other versions. Unfortunately, I don't have a motherboard that runs Carrizo, which is really, really annoying. So we're just going to make do with what we've got today. Sorry. Sorry. Oh, so that's the whole story, and now you know. Nvidium says Ryzen 2400 and 3400G are pretty okay for light gaming as well. Yeah, the only problem with the Vega-based APUs on like Zen 2, Zen 3 is that they're not supported anymore. Vega got canned. Well, I mean, I think the APU still have supported drivers, but like discrete Vega has been canned, and I'm sure, excuse me, it's only a matter of time before the integrated graphics get canned as well. It's unfortunate. I really wish they'd put, you know, RDNA 1 in the 5000 series, you know, APUs. The 5600G, still one of my favorite CPUs of all time. 6 decent cores, and like it's got pretty good, you know, Vega graphics on it. It's not a bad machine. Yeah, there you go. David Starbucks just said 5600G is really nice in Linux. Yeah, it's a decent CPU, decent APU. It's got pretty decent graphics in it, and it's got 6 fairly performant cores. You know, obviously they don't have quite as much L3 cache, which we know Zen 3 really loves its L3 cache, but you know, it still runs pretty nicely. Still runs pretty nicely. All right, so I think we've said hi to everybody in the chat. Oh, Charlotte says, ooh, Carrizo. My PF Sense box runs Athlon 5350 Kabini. Yeah, it's the little one, socket AM one. Yeah. I think that was the successor to FM2, sort of. It was AMD's attempt to take their embedded APUs and like platformize them. Like AM1 never really existed, right? Like we have AM2 and AM3 and AM4 and now AM5. And AMD kind of like did a kind of a retcon and made socket AM1. But these were like Bobcat cores. Well, not quite Bobcat, but you know, one of the big cat cores. They were embedded APUs, much slower, much slower than FM1 or FM2, but still a cool platform, and I like them. And I actually have I have an AM1 board in the other room. That's not a discrete AM1 board. It's got a soldered, basically 5150 soldered to the board, which is kind of a cool thing. I want to get it up and running one of these days. Just haven't had the time. Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. Jaguar. They're the Jaguar cores. Well, this is sort of the Jaguar cores. Same thing. It's that big cat core line that AMD had. They were basically the K8 core. If you remember, like the Athlon 64, AMD updated it with new instruction sets and then like die shrunk it way down, and it turned into a really great embedded CPU. They relaunched their Geode line with it. Very briefly, very briefly, but they had a whole bunch of embedded versions of that core, and then of course like Ocelot and Jaguar and Cougar and what all the other ones were, but all the big cat cores, yeah, they're really neat. Very low power, much better performance than the original Atom, which is what they competed with. And basically, because they also, you know, they did the APU thing to them, they put integrated graphics in them, basically killed off the NVIDIA Ion project, which was to like build a GPU into the North Bridge of an Atom system. So you had like a multimedia Atom or a home theater PC Atom, but those were for, you know, the old in-order Atom cores that were really, really god-awful slow. And then, you know, Bobcat whatever come out and they run circles around the Atom because they're out of order cores based on the Athlon 64. Good stuff. I like them. They're neat little cores, but this is the desktop version. It's much faster, much faster. We're looking at, you know, clock speeds in the 3 to 4 gigahertz range here. So much faster than the 1.82 gigahertz range of the big cat cores. Yeah, so I did originally have Kaveri, I think was the most popular version of this platform. Kaveri was launched alongside Kabini, as it was the big version of Kabini. Kaveri was two or 4 steamroller cores, so that was 3rd revision Bulldozer. And GCN graphics, like GCN2, I think. Really decent. I had an A8 7600 that I built into a home theater PC, actually. No discrete graphics. I built it into one of those slimline HTPC cases that were all the rage back then. It was nice. Very quiet. I watched all of Game of Thrones on that machine to give you an idea of when I had it. Unfortunately, my ex-wife got it in the divorce, but I think she's been enjoying it. I haven't been keeping in touch with her too much, but yeah, I was working great when we last talked. So I miss that machine a little bit. I did a little bit of gaming on like a I built a projector, basically a big home theater in my basement back then, and that was that Kaveri was plugged into it, and did some gaming on that 130-inch screen. It's pretty great. Very competent at casual, couple of years old gaming. Run Guild Wars 2 on it. What else did I run on it? Saints Row 3, Saints Row the Third. What a great franchise, Saints Row. So funny. Anyway, let's do this stuff. Let's build a machine. So, let's start with, I'm most curious about this A88X. I want to see if I can get it booting with this A10 5700 that I picked up. I've even left the little trade stamp on there from its time in China. But I'm going to clean that off because I want to put some thermal paste on there. So let me grab a paper towel real quick. Running out of paper towel. So if you are a part of the Patreon, I posted a little blurb about upcoming videos, and I apologize, I completely forgot about the Cheap PC Challenge that's still going until the end of October. I still need to do my video on that. I've got the graphics card for it, I hope. I've picked it up. It was $20 RX 570 that was listed as sort of working. We'll see how bad it is. I haven't found any of the rest of the machine yet, but fingers crossed on that one, because that would be a heck of a find, an RX 570 for 20 bucks. But so I've got to do that video, and then I do still want to launch, like officially launch these 3D printed test benches, the little ultra compact version that I have here, because they're really nice. They print really easily. I think people will like them. I'm kind of done doing revisions to the test benches. These are basically what I consider final. They're good enough for my needs. If anybody wants to make new ones, go for it. There's also so many 3D printed case projects now. Like when I first started making the 3D printed test benches, God, like 2.5, 3 years ago now, there's basically nothing out there for 3D printing computer cases. There was like 4 options that I could find, and that most of them were bad. Nowadays, like there's entire YouTube channels dedicated to making 3D printed cases, like releasing one every couple of weeks or whatever. So I think there's less of a need these days for 3D printed test benches, but I still want to release my final version of the model because it's pretty easy to print, and it uses very little material compared to the earlier versions. I think it'll be useful for folks. Anyway, that didn't clean up as nicely as I had hoped it would, but that's probably fine. Let's throw zinc on it. Get this out of the way. So, the nice part about these test benches is you grab your power supply, right? So we've got a couple of screws in the power supply there. Put your power supply down, and then these little tabs locate into those screws on the power supply, like so. Screw in the screws, that's the wrong screwdriver. I'm doing well today. Screw in the screws, and voila, you have a test bench. That's the major selling point for these. Get this thing to focus. Come on, there you go. I think they're pretty cool. I hope they help folks. I'll probably do a launch video on it fairly soon. Sorry. So, this is The A10-5700 is Trinity. This is like I said, one of the earliest APUs that this board will support. So no matter what BIOS revision this thing is on, it should support this. Supposedly, according to Gigabyte's website, it's supported on BIOS F1, so the first rev of the BIOS, it should boot up with this thing. Fingers crossed. So let's go ahead and throw some heatsink paste on here. Now, of course, this isn't, excuse me, this is not an overclockable SKU of the APUs. This was back when AMD was like, I wish I had the confidence of an AMD marketing manager, because like they were on the ropes when these things launched, right? Like firmly within the Melee's era of AMD. This is where they sold their office building to a company that they then rented it back from every month for monthly rent, so they could get that cash. So they sold the building and then rented it back from that company. That's how dire things were at AMD when these things were around. And yet, AMD's marketing managers were like, you know what? Let's have 35 SKUs for these things. Let's have, 8 different motherboard chipsets. It'll be fine. What are they thinking? Oh. Also, let's make only some of these chips overclockable. It was the style at the time, I guess. It really was, actually, because, like, the overclockable SKUs had a K on them, just like Intel was doing. There we go. This is actually an AM4 cooler. It slots right on to FM2 like nobody's business. Plug in our fan here. There we go. Let's get the power supply plugged in. Power supply cables, I swear, they're specially designed to, like, grab onto everything around them. Snag your shirt, snag other cables. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're like the stickiest substance in the world. Our CPU connector. And that is that way. Get on there. Do you actually go together? You do actually go together. Oh, wow. Let's see if I can get you to go together. Oh, there we go. That'll make that much easier. That's better. Alright, let's grab some RAM. Scavenge it off the other one. What is this? Probably 4 gigs? Yeah, 2 gigs each, total of 4 gigs. Got a lot of RAM. I don't know where all my good DDR3 is, but should be more than enough for Haiku. Okay. APU, we don't need discrete graphics. Let's plug in our VGA. As David says, the Mesozoic connector. I need to turn on my VGA to HDMI. One sec. Put this on a smart plug. It'll make it so much easier. All right. Let's see if chat's going. What's going on here? Yeah. Well, during the original Core, so like Core and Core 2, right? Like AMD was still competitive. if you could afford like the high-end phenoms, like you could get competitive performance. But once first generation core Nehalem came out, Nehalem and was the revision of Nehalem? I'll remember it in like 5 minutes when it's no longer relevant. But when Nehalem came out, AMD didn't really have an answer. So they were still selling their phenoms that were like basically Core 2 speeds. And then Sandy Bridge came out in 2011, and that was when AMD launched the FX series, which was almost the same speed as Nehalem. And then FX never got faster. So you got 2011 performance from 2011 through to like 2017. Oof. By the time, when Ryzen came out. Oof. That was Melee's era AMD, was the FX series of processors. It sucked too, because like the Athlon 64 FX was a killer CPU. The FX line of the Athlon 64s and the Phenoms, great, terrific, great CPUs. Then they decided to call this total turd stink pile bulldozer CPU FX, like it's super performant, and it's just a dog and never stops being a dog. 6 years of terrible performance. Like I said, it was bad. AMD was in dire straits by the end of it. I'm just glad that they managed to scrape it together enough money and enough talent to make Ryzen and make a comeback, because imagine if AMD went under as one of the last x86 license holders who are licensed to make processors that are x86 compatible. If AMD had died, we would have had only Intel. And we've seen what Intel does when they have no competition. Basically no performance uplift from like Haswell through 10th generation. Oof. Alright, so we're gonna use one of these $4 Samsung SSDs. 64 gigs should be plenty for Haiku. Oh, this board has 2 SATA connectors on. Oh wait, no, there it is. There's 4 on there. Okay, that's good. Like, wow, really? Really? Only 2? No, there's 4 on there. They just split up. 2 on one side, 2 on the other. There's SATA power. Alright. The Carrizo that won't run in anything is so annoying. Really annoyed by that. I need a keyboard and a mouse. Power will also be helpful. Let's get network plugged in here. Pull power over. Shouldn't be bothered with that. Alright, let's get that in there. Alright, and grab a keyboard and mouse. Thought I had a wireless one around here. Oh. I've got that one. Let's just use that one. It's close by. Not a big deal. Grab the vintage Logitech. Oh yeah. Your mom's mouse. Fitting. That into the USB 2 port. I'll plug this into the USB 3 port. And we'll use the little cherry keyboard. not to spill everything on this desk. Good lord. I have too much stuff, y'all. I have too much stuff. Stay. A bunch of things that have all conspired to make my life miserable for the last couple of weeks, and because I'm terrible at compartmentalizing, it's been delaying my inventorying and storing plans. I still have just too much stuff around me. Very frustrating. Alright, keyboard. Oh, how cute! It's got little USB ports right above the keyboard port. Perfect. Okay. Let's have a button. I do have a button. Let's plug in button. Power on. Power supply. Nothing went pop, that's good. Switch over to the VGA, we'll turn it on. There we go. David Starbucks says, that's my mouse, I feel old. Yeah. Yeah, I loved these when they first came out. These were great. This one's a little bit worse for the wear. The scroll wheel at least has not turned into goo yet, which is nice, but it's definitely in need of some additional Teflon pads on the bottom. I've just got to pick up a replacement pack of them. Alright, let's fire this thing up and see what happens. Hey! On, off, on. Are we booting? Hey, look at that. Oh, I already have Haiku on this SSD! I think maybe it's booting up the USB already. There's a non-zero chance that I already had Haiku installed on this SSD. We'll see in a minute, I guess. We went for a resolution change, and we have not come back, so I don't think it's working. Charlotte says, oh, I already have Haiku on this SSD. This is a peak tech ambrosia moment. There's an absolutely non-zero chance that this SSD already had Haiku on it. Starbuck Tech says, give it a bit. Yeah, XP would run pretty nicely on this hardware. Yeah, XP would like it. Yes, Hardy Barrows here says the combination of architecture change and DDR4 totally saved the concept of the APU, and yes, absolutely. Also, it helped that, you know, processes got better. Part of the reason that was such a melee's era for AMD is that they got stuck on 32 nanometer. You know, they were contractually obliged to fab their chips at GlobalFoundries because they had spun them off, and that 10-year contract was part of their spin-off agreement, and GlobalFoundries promptly got stuck on 32 nanometers. Good job, guys. And nothing ever improved for AMD. They had built an architecture that was like designed to scale as the process node shrank, right? Like Bulldozer was designed to work best at like 14 nanometer, and it never got there because GlobalFoundries never got there. The best they could do was when they made Kaveri and they ported the whole thing over to 28 nanometer GPU library. So they started fabbing on a GPU node on 28 nanometer, like the same as GCN and Maxwell was being fabbed on at the time. And that you bought him a little bit more, you know, power headroom, but it was still not great. I mean, yeah, you know, AM3 Plus still has Windows XP drivers. You can also run Ivy Bridge on Windows XP. Ivy Bridge on Windows XP would be very fast. I actually have, it's funny you say that, because I have, right down here, hang on, right next to my image writer that I don't want to bonk, I have a fully assembled battle station, Sandy Bridge machine that is designed to run Windows XP. Because I have a video idea about making a fast Windows XP system. And yes, the crossfire works. It's pretty wild. It's a Sandy Bridge i5 running at 4.6 gigahertz. It does some amazing things. It's very fast. It's very fast. And David Starbucks says Global Foundry's whole story resembles a dumpster fire. Yeah, pretty much. I want to power this thing off here. Let's see if it shuts down cleanly. Looks like it does. My guess is we just didn't get a good resolution change on that. I'm going to see if we can get a boot screen. Can I select my boot device? No, F8 is not the boot device select switch. Raptor 3 says Sandy Bridge. I love Sandy Bridge. Sandy Bridge was good stuff. Sandy Bridge was good stuff. Correct. David Starbucks says Haiku isn't Linux. You are correct. It is not Linux. It is. It's kind of Do you know what React OS is? Have you heard of React OS? React OS is an open source re-implementation of Windows. Yeah, seriously, that's the thing that exists. Like they've been trying for God, like 20 years now to re-implement all the basic, you know, binary interface functions of Windows. Basically targeting like Windows XP-ish. At first they were targeting Windows 2000 because it's when the project started, and then they were like, oh, let's target XP. I think they have some additional targeting in there for like Windows 7-ish era stuff. But this is a similar idea where this group got together and started this project to re-implement BOS, which had, you know, it existed in the 90s. It kind of died off. It was sold off to HP and Palm, and then I think LG owned it for a while, and it was just buried. And it's kind of tragic because BOS was a really interesting operating system. So this group got together to re-implement it, and it was originally called OpenBOS because they were going to implement it as an open source project. And of course, HP, Palm, LG, whoever it was, said you can't use the BOS name, sorry. So they renamed it to Haiku. And the 32-bit version of Haiku actually is still compiled with GCC 2.95, and it's still completely binary compatible with BOS R5 for x86. So you can still run old BOS software on modern hardware using Haiku. The more you know. And of course, the 64-bit version runs on most modern hardware and does a pretty good job of it. All right, what is... There we go. Boot off of... Oh, I think it was starting off of the USB. Let's start it with not UEFI. Let's see what this does. Come on, baby. Darn it. Yeah, I don't think so. Starbuck Tech says, I think I can, I think it can. I don't think it can. Something is not liking the onboard graphics, I think. It might be initializing a different display output. I can try it with the DVI and see if it likes that better. It might just be that the VGA doesn't work. Give me one sec. Has HaikuOS really not been touched for 3 years? No, they're still doing stuff. If you go to the reactos.org, like, they haven't released a build since, I think, 2021, but that's the same for Haiku. You want to get the nightlies for Haiku. You want to get the nightlies for ReactOS as well. They're still updating stuff. They've their last push was in May. They have some new developers. They're working on symmetric multiprocessing support. That, I imagine, is going to take a lot to, like, re-implement Windows version of SMP. That's going to be god awful. I wish them the best of luck. All right, let's try the DVI port. Where's my little friend? DVI to HDMI. It's going to bypass the VGA to HDMI and go straight into the capture card. Let's see if that works. Okay. That's a different resolution. There we go. It likes the DVI port. All right, let me switch over to the 16:9. All right, we've got Haiku. It's working. God, what is this resolution? Is this trying to run in like 4K or something? Oh, jeez. Bold. Let's see. Preferences. Screen. Oh my god, what resolution are you? It is! It's trying to run at 4K. Let's scale you down to, like, I don't know, 1366 by 768. You guys should be able to read that, I think. Apply. Yes, 60 hertz, apply. Pretty please? Oh, that's a big nope. Starbuck Tech says, I currently have 3 desktops and 3 laptops running different Linux distros. Yeah, Blake DMC says 720p. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think this capture card likes 768p. Oh, good lord, where is it? There it is. 1280 by 720. Go. That is the smallest text. Are you kidding me? It won't do 720p either. That's so weird. I wonder if I can get 1080p out of it. There we go. 1080p will work. It's certainly more readable. I don't know if all of you can read that, though. What if I do something weird like 1280 by 800? Will it do that? It will. Oh, that looks awful. Wow. Thanks, capture card. How about 900p? It will do 900p, and it also looks awful. Gross. This is not a cheap capture card, and I'm constantly appalled by the kind of quality I get out of it. It's so bad. 1680 by 1050 also looks like hot garbage, so let's go back to 1080p. There we go. That looks... At least that looks okay. Alright. Well, we've got Haiku running. Let's see if we can get it installed. Run the installer. Oh, I need to do the disk setup first. Oh, set up partitions, thank you. FAT32, 100 megabytes. That looks like it's probably a Windows 10 install. Let's just nuke it. Delete. There we go. Onto... Oh, I guess we'll just reload installer. No refresh button. No partitions, really? Oh, you know what? I didn't format it. That's my problem. There we go. I'm smart. Look at that. It finds it automatically. Turns out if you format it correctly, it does find it automatically. Alright, run the installer. World's fastest install process. Don't you wish your OS was fast like me? There we go. That is Haiku installed. Let's shut this down and unplug the USB, and we should be able to boot straight off that SSD. Ian Scott is here. Hello. Ian says, best installer ever. It so is. Oh, I need to set this to CSM boot, I think. I bet this is set up to boot into like UEFI. Where is the CSM boot? Where is... Yes, CSM. Oh, always. Well, that's not good. Bah. Yes, always. Please do the always. Ah, legacy only. This is the worst BIOS. Ugh. You click on things, it doesn't work. Storage boot option, legacy. Legacy operams. Let's see. Yes, boot from that one. Okay. Save and exit. Save will boot. Why won't you boot? Yeah, Claudia1 says, if you want to get Haiku to boot via UEFI, you have to drop the boot binary into the EFI partition by hand. I don't. I just want it to boot with compatibility mode, but it's not doing it. It's being ornery. Let's figure out why. David Starbucks says, it's not that hard. I figured it out. I don't want to do it because it's hard. I just want to get this to boot on normal, BIOS boot. If it won't, then obviously we're going to have to do the EFI method, but I would like it to just boot. Windows 8 features. Oh, that's why. No, other OS. That's probably our problem. Let's see if that fixes it. The BIOS is being clever. Oh, it still doesn't want to do it. Oh. No worries. David Starbucks says, I was referring to Raptor 3. No worries. I guess we're going to try and set it up with UEFI. It shouldn't matter. Mike N asks, do you need to boot from the install media while in compatibility mode? No, because the installer doesn't do any UEFI checks. And you can't, like, when you write the USB out with Rufus, you don't have the option to, like, do a UEFI or a CSM boot because it's not a Windows partition. It just writes it straight to the USB with DD mode. Let's see if we can get the UEFI mode to work. I have never done this before, so this will be an adventure. It's F11 for boot menu? No, it just boots off the USB. Okay, sure. We'll do that. Blake DMC says, I bet your capture card is a Live Gamer 4K. If so, I know your pain. Yep, you got it. You got it in one. Oh, and the thing is, like, the Live Gamer 4K is better than the Elgato card I had before it. I had the HD60 Pro, the PCI Express version. That thing was such a pain in the butt. The Live Gamer is better, but it's still really bad. And these aren't cheap cards. Like, how are these all so awful? Let's see. Did this go? Yeah, this went back to 4K again, didn't it? Screen. No, it's 1080. It says it's 1080p. Seems significantly less readable than it was before, but whatever. Okay, what did I do wrong? Drive setup. What did I do wrong with this thing? So I'm gonna need a UEFI partition. So unmount, delete. What do I need, chat? Help me out. I've never done this. Do I need like 100 megs for UEFI? Hundred bags, Fat32. Do I need to call it anything? Gutbomb says 200 megabytes for safety. All right, sure. We'll make it 200 megs. We've got 64 gigs to play with. It's fine. Guess I'll just call it EFI. I guess that probably doesn't matter. Let's make this. Oh my god, look at all the options. EFI system data? Or really Fat32? I'm making Fat32. I think I can make it FAT32. What do you think, chat? EFI system data? I don't have an option to make it FAT32, weirdly, I don't think. Oh, you know why? Because I can make, this is just the partition format, or the partition ID. NVIDIA says EFI system data. Okay. And then I format it FAT32. Okay. We've got an EFI partition. Yeah, EFI install is not yet automated. Not a problem. Not a problem. Let's do installer. I swear this is smaller than it was before. Nope, I wanted to do the other button. Yes, go. Alright, so we'll install onto the Haiku. Go. Get to see that awesome installer again. Oh. Understandable, but also, that really sucks. I'm sorry. Alright, how do I get to this partition? Oh, do I have to mount it? I bet I have to mount it, huh? It's unmounted? Yes. Mount. Okay, so we've got our EFI partition. And this should be the install disk. So what do I drop on here? Y'all. Really? Hmm. Blake DMC says, yeah, I had to go through turning off resizable bar for both of my AverMedia capture cards to work well. That's a thought. Like, I turned on resizable bar with my 3090 to try and get a little more performance out of it, but I have noticed that my AverMedia sometimes will stop responding. I have to reboot the whole machine to get it back. I wonder if that'd fix that. And Vidium says you must set the EFI flag. What is that? Oh, change parameters. Oh, it says it's EFI system data. Oh, Clarjon1 has found a guide. Copy the Haiku UEFI bootloader from platform loaders directory. Not in there. God, this is so small. Get some more resolution. Some less resolution. Preferences. Screen. Wow, that looks awful. Okay, yeah. What's the... How do I make the font bigger? Appearance? Yes. Haha, look at that. It doesn't seem to be scaling anything else. Reopen the app to get it to scale? Oh, there we go. Reopen the app to get it to scale. Oh, already did. Okay, awesome. Can I relaunch tracker? Oh, well, whatever. A small menus in the tracker, that's fine. Oh, I gotcha. So there should be... That's mounted. Let's mount that. Should be in there. Aha! I boot x64 EFI. Oh, thank you, Francois. That's probably my problem. It didn't automatically make the partition bootable. That's why it wasn't booting. Yeah, as you can see, we're struggling with doing the EFI boot. So, you know, I'll just wipe this all out, and we'll just do it as a BIOS boot. No problem. Much easier. How do I make it bootable? Parameters. Change parameters. I can't seem to change the boot parameter. Oh, I should probably format it first. Ha! That's probably why. Now, can I make it? I still can't make it bootable. How do I make it bootable? Oh, darn. NVIDIA's out for a call. Good luck! Catch you on the flip side. Wait, what? Francois, are you pulling my chain? Do they really do grub? No way. How do I make this thing bootable? Why can't I just make it bootable? I feel like this should just be part of the installer, you know? That's not what I want. Raw disk probe. Oh yeah, Blake GMC says I'd also turn off secure boot. Yeah, I don't have secure boot turned on my stuff. I do too much weird stuff with my hardware. I'm like, I don't want secure boot on this stuff. Jack 68K says one does not simply make bootable. Come on! How the heck do I make this stupid thing bootable? Oh, this is frustrating. Wouldn't the installer do that? You'd think it would set it to bootable once you've installed. But no, it's not. Boot is not set. Attributes, queries, MIME types. Make bootable is a low-level Haiku tool. Does it exist in here already? Because that would be great. Hey, we've got it. Cool. What the heck is the name of this thing? It's like dev scuzzy raw 0 something something something. Yeah, dev disk scuzzy 0000. Disk scuzzy. Oh, come on. If I can type. 1, 2, 3, 4. What? Block devices not supported on this platform. What? Do I have to unmount it first? Maybe I have to unmount it first. Let's try that. Nope, doesn't like that. Try 3 zeros, just the disk itself instead of the partition. No such file or directory. Okay. It's there. Try the 3 seashells. I'm gonna kill you. I'm guessing I need to do it to the raw data. There we go. I was right. Okay, let's see if we can boot this thing. Kind of a pain. Kind of a pain. Alright, shut down. The weirdest part, you know, I bet I know why I didn't have to do this for the little embedded APU. I bet the partition I was installing it on already had the boot flags set. I guess? I didn't have to do this before. Weird. Okay, unplugging the USB and restarting. See what happens. No! Failed to load OS. Boo! Haiku, you're doing me dirty. This was a piece of cake with the nightly image I used back on, on VCF SoCal back in February. Starbuck Tech says, okay, XP time. Yeah, right? Time to hit it with a hammer. Come on, give me my boot menu. Garbage BIOS. Blake TMC says, I second Windows XP. Other OS, legacy only. Legacy, it's all set to... Alright, let's try plugging this in one more time. Maybe I need to set it as bootable first? It's so weird because it boots just fine off the USB. Give me my boot menu. Give it, BIOS is the worst. Screen capture success. What? Alright, okay, booting off the Samsung. Boot priorities, let's make this higher priority. Alright, so booting off the USB again. Raptor 3 says XP with set FSB. Yeah, we can do some... Well, this is the A88X, right? So we should have overclocking controls on this. The thing is that the CPU that's in it, the APU isn't overclockable technically. So yeah, set FSB maybe. But I swear that looks bigger than it was last time. It seems eminently more readable than last boot. Anyway, let's do installer, continue. Yes, do it anyway. Still have our boot flag. Oh, it doesn't even have a boot flag on it. I thought it... Does that remove make bootable? It's so weird. Huh. Raptor 3 says, yeah, but the jank compels you. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. The jank does compel me. I bet I have an SSD around here with XP on it. I betcha. I want to figure out how to get this thing to load. This was not as difficult on that embedded APU. It was a piece of cake. Let's see. Haiku EFI boot. Oh, it needs to be. Oh, okay. I think our problem is that we may have a GPT formatted disk. Yes. See, we're trying to boot BIOS and it's GPT partition map. That's our problem. That's why it won't boot. Okay. We'll get this. We'll get this. Okay. Can I make this not... Well, no, I guess I can't make it not GPT because it won't let me. Oh, here we go. There we go. Initialize. All right, let's just do a normal partition map. Okay, now create B file system. Active partition. There's our bootable flag. Okay. Working better. Working better. I'm smart, I swear. Oh boy. There, that's better. We've got an MBR partition map. It's boot file system. It's the active partition, which means it'll boot. Ah, oh, alright, let's reinstall. God. Okay. Look at that. Go! There we go. Okay, quit. And we'll shut down. And now it should boot. It should boot! Fingers crossed, it should boot. Pull the USB and power it on. Now I don't even get the BIOS. What is going on with this board? What is your problem? Oh, I cannot catch a break today. What is your problem? This is not related to Haiku. This is some awful, awful hardware is what's going on here. Come on, you. Well, now the BIOS isn't even responding. So that's fun. Reseat the RAM. Unplug and plug in the DVI again. Come on. You were running literally 2 seconds ago. There we go. We're booting off the SSD. The USB is not plugged in. We are booting off the SSD. That was my problem. I had a GPT partition map trying to boot BIOS. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Ta-da! That is Haiku, y'all. Heck yeah. Alright, so let's do, obviously we've got to run GLTpot. Look at it go. 450 FPS, let's make it a little bigger. Only 250 FPS. Add a teapot as Alt-N, let's do... I love the Utah teapot. I absolutely love it. I love that it's a test model for OpenGL. It's so funny. I don't think we have hardware acceleration. I don't think there's hardware acceleration in any part of Haiku yet, right? Mandelbro. Yeah, it's alright. Hokey. Nice. Alright, so let's do... We got Pulse, we've got Pulse. Excellent. So there's our CPU cores. 4 cores, although not defined as cores by the state of California. Just open up the demos menu, we just launch demos from here. I think we have 2D acceleration, don't we? Yeah, no, we've got 2D hardware acceleration. Let's do, what is this? Oh, it's star chart. That doesn't like what it's doing there. Okay. we're not using all of our CPU. We can open another teapot. And another teapot. And another teapot. And another. And another. And another. Uh-oh, we're running into the inefficiencies of Bulldozer. They're not real cores. Oh no. Francois says you can disable them. Yes. You can always turn off your core. It doesn't, I don't think it actually does anything in the x86 version. It just doesn't schedule anything on that core. But yeah, you know, you can drop cores. Or is that really Dewey? Well, it goes a little bit faster. Yeah, if we drop off a whole module, so that should just be the first module. It's definitely slower than if we enable both modules, but only one thread per module. That seems like that's faster. Which makes sense. They're not real cores. Especially in floating point, they're not real cores. So let's see what else. I double-clicked my demos folder, and I don't know where it went. Like, hid itself somewhere. I thought that worked like Windows Shade in classic macOS, but I guess I'm wrong. What else do we got? Playground is a UI thing. You can like make stuff. What else? What is pairs? Oh. That's funny. I was right. Okay. My memory's terrible. I don't play those games. What is Cortex? Oh, this is audio routing. Nice. That's cool. That was like the thing that BOS was known for. It got a lot of usage in audio stuff, like real-time audio processing. I do distinctly remember walking into a theater once, not a movie theater, but like a physical theater. And there in the sound management pit was, you know, along with all the huge soundboard was, you know, a little screen off to the side running BOS on it. Pretty cool. Oh, that's cool. You can make a little overlay image. I'm guessing that's how they do the desktop overlay. Alrighty. So we've got that going. We should have the software install store. It should be Haiku Depot. Yeah, there it is, Haiku Depot. We'll let you collect some data, it's fine. I want this OS to succeed. I could probably close a few of the teapots. I probably don't need all of these teapots open. It might make it go a little faster, you know, just... We'll close a few teapots. Ooh, is that what I think it is? Yes. Oh, that would be fun. QEMU in Haiku. Do you need to run Windows on your Haiku? You can just run it in QEMU. That would be pretty great. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave that teapot over there doing its thing. Oh, you know what else I should run actually? Where is the... Yeah, the little Haiku logo, the 3D Haiku logo. This is really cute. I love this. It's honestly probably my favorite part of the OS. It's just this little 3D Haiku logo that just spins around once in a while. It's cute. See, this is what gets me thinking, like, I could probably daily this. Because you've got QEMU, if you need to run Windows or Linux stuff, you just run it in a virtual machine. It's a thought. It's a thought. Oh, Raptor 3. Tell me this says Firefox installed out of the box. It does not, but it does have... Yeah, Net Positive is like a rework of the original Web Positive. Sorry, Web Positive, a rework of Net Positive. Net Positive was the browser in BOS. Web Positive is the rework of it. It's not great. It's sort of functional. But what you do is there is a browser for this that's really decent. I forget the name of it. It's not Otter. Where is it? It's not Otter browser. It's something else though. I thought. Did that awesome browser get pulled out of the release? Otter browser will work. It's not quite as good as the other one was. Oh, thank you. Clarjon1 says, make sure to click on all packages, otherwise you're just looking at featured packages. All right, we'll let this install on a browser. We sort by rating. Oh, it's because I'm not at the top of the thing. It's in here and top rated. Where is it? Falcon, that's it. The Falcon browser, really good. I'll wait for this to finish installing Otter browser. And we'll get Falcon on here, because Falcon I think is the one that's, like, I think you can use YouTube on Falcon. I'm pretty sure. Francois says QEMU will be slow. Does it not? Does it not do virtualization extensions yet? Are those not in Haiku yet? Yeah. Yeah, the Manifest v3 thing is pretty awful. It's a pretty blatant attempt by Google to take over the internet. Another pretty blatant attempt by Google, which is funny because, like, they already basically have, which is sad. I don't like to say that, but how many people run Firefox? Basically, at this point, if you don't run Firefox, you're running some version of Chrome. It's like most of the web now, and I hate it. I run Firefox. Just in case there was any doubt, I run Firefox. In fact, I'm reading the chat right now in this stream on Firefox. There you go. Francois says BOS was used in the Eddie roll DP7 video editor from Roland. Heck yeah. Like I said, that it found use in, I guess, in multimedia, not just audio. It's pretty cool. So let's grab Falcon. We've got, there we go, apply. We've got Otter browser. Why does it disappear if I, oh, right, no, it just minimizes over to the tracker, or to the desk bar. My bad. I've totally used this OS before. I think I've been using the BOS theme on classic macOS a bit too much. It doesn't work that way. So let's run Otter browser. We can see that first. Raptor 3 says Firefox mentioned. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's Otter browser's not amazing. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if our network's not set up. No, because we're downloading packages from the depot. Otter browser might just be bad. Do we have Falcon yet? We do have Falcon. What? Is Falcon not completely installed yet? It is a nightly. It is a nightly. Sometimes things don't work. Oh, yeah, no, missing some libraries. Safari is weird. Yeah, Safari is weird. Honestly, I wish they would make it easier for people to use WebKit, because like WebKit by itself is a pretty decent browser. I do have WebKit on this machine. This streaming system is a Windows 10 machine. I do have the like one of the WebKit Dev Nightlies on here, and like it's decent. It's a decent browser, and it's not related to Chrome, which is nice. But it's such a pain in the butt to get working. Like they make it difficult to get working on purpose so that you're more likely to buy a Mac or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what their reasoning is. By the way, if someone's looking to buy an M1 Mac Mini, I think I'm looking to sell mine at some point. Not super happy with it. Alright, so SSL support is not working. So let's try good old FrogFind. FrogFind works because there's no SSL. Let's do... I wonder if Wikipedia will work. English. Wikipedia. No. Just does not like it. SSL is not working in Auto Browser. Okay, fine. Fine. I got lucky, I guess, with the build that I took to VCF SoCal, because it worked. Basically, everything on it worked. It was really nice. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people played around with it. It was my most popular thing that I had at my booth at VCF SoCal. The GNOME web browser. Oh, there you go. It uses WebKit. Let's see if it works. Yeah, Raptor 3 says Chrome is fast, but it isn't worth it. Yeah, I don't. Not anymore. Like things are so fast that like I'm not like wanting for speed with Firefox. The one time you'll laugh at this. The one time I found Firefox was being slow on me was here on YouTube actually. Um, and I fixed it by spoofing the user agent and telling YouTube that I'm using Chrome, and suddenly everything loaded faster. Shockingly. This is taking a while to load. I mean, it's the GNOME web browser. It makes sense. GNOME is so huge. That's so funny. With no useless widgets or wasted space. I don't know if y'all have been around since GNOME started, but like, boy, trying GNOME versus KDE back in the early days of both desktop environments, GNOME was like #1 in wasted space. God, it was bad. Yup. Sorry this is taking so long, y'all. We'll get a web browser working on this, I swear. I swear. While this is installing, I may as well show you Web Positive so you can see the built-in browser, which is not amazing. But we can at least make it, like, try. I do recall the stream a couple of weeks ago where I started up BOS on my Power Mac and, like, loaded up Net Positive and it loaded, like, that fast. Oh, they don't make them like they used to. Well, this will at least load YouTube, so that's doing better than Auto Browser. I'll give it that. I'll give it that. It's doing better than Auto Browser. Let's look up me. Hey, look at that. Ta-da! See, I really need to release the next version of the test benches because it's the first one that comes up when you search for me. Oh, and today's live stream. There you go. Hi everybody. Our views are a little bit larger, or a little bit higher than they usually are. So hello, folks who are joining the stream for the first time. Oh yes, and the 3D effects video that just about killed me to make. That was so difficult. I'm glad everybody liked it, but it was a pain in the butt to make. So that works. Let's do wiki, if I can spell. Downside to this keyboard. There we go. This isn't bad, actually. This is much better than it used to be. Oh yeah, now we get Wikipedia's new dark mode, which looks awful. Somehow it's worse than the light mode. I don't know how they managed to do that. Hey, that's not bad, honestly. Some improvements have been made to Web Positive. I'm impressed. Well done, y'all. Well done. Uh-oh. Francois says you can also check out NetSurf. I did the initial port. Francois, we're gonna roast ya. Careful. We are gonna roast ya. Let's look for NetSurf. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here we go. Are you sure you want this, Francois? Wow, NetSurf is open source and uses its own layout engine. That's kind of amazing. Those are some hardcore devs to make their own layout engine in 2024. Let's see it. Look at that. That loads as fast as Net Positive back on the Power Mac. That's impressive. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. And let's try. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, that's not working very well. It's trying. It's sure trying. Let's do... Wikipedia looks better. Wikipedia looks alright. Can we zoom in with the Alt plus? No. Is there a way to do that in the menus? Not that I can see. Very small text. But it is rendering it correctly, and it's very smooth. Let's read about the French Revolution. Important reading. It mostly works. We got a squished Wikipedia logo here up in the corner. That search box looks a little weird. But, like, it's perfectly readable, just very small text. but it is readable. That is definitely lightweight. I will say, that's fast. I appreciate that. I appreciate that more than like it not rendering pages correctly, because like I'd rather have it be fast and mostly usable than be, you know, just complete pig. Raptor 3 wants me to live stream the live stream. This is going to be awful. Oh boy. All right. Which one did that work in? That worked in net positive, web positive. Let's see if we can do it. The weather is doing something outside. Hopefully power stays on. We'll see. Nope, Clarjon 1 is left. Have a good one. I will see you in a bit. Alright, so let's live stream the live stream, see what happens. There you go. Web positive can't play it, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, y'all. I appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm. Alright, that being said, I think we have mostly accomplished our goal. I mean, it's not Carrizo, sorry. I am still looking for a board that will actually run Carrizo, because I'd like to use this. I'd like to use this APU. It would be nice. See if it'll focus on this again. No, it won't. It doesn't like to. So if I do the product YouTuber thing, focus on it then. Hey, it does. They do it for a reason. I would like this to work, but I need to find a board that'll actually run in. That is going to be a pain. I have to like find a board on eBay and then like cross-reference it and see if there's any BIOS revision that actually works with that. That is annoying. The teapot is still tripping out. Yes, it is. One of the coolest parts about BOS and Haiku relatedly is that it's extremely multi-threaded. It was one of the things, like, back in 1995, to see an OS that ran this smoothly on hardware of the time it blew my mind when I first saw it. It was pretty cool. And it's nice to see that, you know, the Haiku team are keeping up that legacy with a nice, snappy OS that moves fast. Honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest. This is running a lot better than I thought it was going to. And we had some hurdles to get over at the beginning to get it installed, but like, it's working a lot better than I thought it was going to. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Haiku team is making some real strides lately. If any of y'all have a developer bone in your body, go give them a hand. They're at HaikuOS.org. They can use all the help they can get, and I think this OS I think it's a good one, honestly. I think it's a good one. It's much more personal. You know, it's much more personal than like a Linux install, and it's not controlled by a giant corporation, which is kind of nice considering what the giant corporations have been doing lately. I think it's good to have, you know, some actual freedom in our free software. So, give them a hand, throw them a couple of bucks, toss a coin to your Haiku OS developer, and yeah, I'm gonna continue seeing how much more modern hardware I can get this to run on, because this is great. This is working really nicely. I'm impressed. I am impressed. So I think that's going to do it for today. And I guess I'll figure out what to do for next week's stream. This week's stream was supposed to be the 486 board in the back that I keep pointing at and teasing. But if you saw Big Bad Biologist's stream today, this morning, he repaired basically the same board, and his runs a faster version of that CPU. So you got to see exactly how awful it is. So there isn't really anything there to surprise anybody with. But that was going to be today's stream, so I decided to do some Haiku instead. Everybody loves Haiku. I love Haiku. Alright, let's play everybody out, hey? Switch over to the A cam here. Ta-da! I hope everybody had fun. I hope you had a good stream. I enjoyed today's stream. I love messing around with Haiku, and I'm glad that I've got this thing actually working, finally. Although it's not with Carrizo. I'll figure that out somehow, someday. Raptor3 says, can I install Firefox? I don't think there is a Firefox port on Haiku yet. I can't imagine that it will be far away. The thing is, like, the WebKit browsers that are on there work pretty well, and they're also mostly open source. I do wish they weren't quite so controlled by Apple, but you know, they're okay. There you go. Francois says it has been started. So yeah, at some point, Firefox on Haiku will be excellent. Oh yeah, no yeah, version 2 of Firefox on BOS. That's, ooh, Firefox 2, Firefox 2.0. Anybody remember that? It was bad. It was bad. Firefox was bad in the early days. Anyway, yep, I hope everybody has a wonderful time, and I hope you enjoyed the stream. And remember, may the PC parts be ever in your favor. And hey, I've got a Patreon. I keep forgetting to link it in the video descriptions, but if you like this kind of stuff, I do still make videos. I swear I'm making a video. I promise. I'm sorry. It's been taking forever. But if you sign up for the Patreon, even the $1 a month tier, you can see the video up to a week early. Hey, how cool is that? And also, it means I don't have to take sponsorships, because I sure don't want to hawk Raid Shadow Legends or anything like that. Anyway, y'all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will catch you on the flip side. All right, have a wonderful night.